Kadosh, Erev Tov. Bezrat Hashem, we're going to be doing the Shiur, the Iluni Shmat, Jiena, but Nini and Shashia. Sheni Shmatat Zorachim, amen. It says over here, Shachanti betocham velo shachanti betocho, which means Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, will dwell in them, and it doesn't say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will dwell in it. We have to understand, why does it say that? Number two, Ashat HaShechina is inside of the Neshamot of Am Kodsho, meaning in every single one of the Neshamot, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and he's going to dwell within the Neshama. We're going to speak about the Al-Shich HaKadosh. Ke'en, one second, Ke'en hu yitbarach oseh yikar me'ayitzim v'avanim ki me'anashim hatzadikim asher nafshotehem mishkeno la'abid Yaakov, which means HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need pieces of wood or buildings. Hashem doesn't want buildings. You know what he wants? Neshamot. If you give him the neshama, he's going to put the Shekhinah on the neshama. Shekhinah is Gilui Kvodo B'Briyah, is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to reveal his revelation in the creation. The kesher, the connection between the Kvodo of Hashem Yitbarach with the Tachtonim. Also, we're going to speak about the Inyan of Shekhinah, which is brought down in Chazal. Oro hanibra otmadat ashkachato, the kesher of the kavod. Okay. Next, when a person is going to come and do a mitzvah and he's learning Torah, he becomes a merkava to the Shekhinah. Number 5 is going to be the neshama that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is coming, and the neshama that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be Mashiach Shechinato Ba'adam. Everything is in order to come and to make it eternal. We're going in order to come and to make it stronger. The chefetz v'acheshek, right? To do that, you want the desire and the chukah that you're coming. You want to to win against our tavot or desires. So that's what a person has to do. Okay, fine. And then Ikar Shechina b'lev Yisrael. Let's start. The shoe starts. Ve'asu li migdash. Everyone has it. We're on page Aleph. I sent it to everybody. Page Aleph. You want it? Okay. Page Aleph. So it says on page Aleph, Ve'asu li migdash v'shachanti b'tocham kechol asher ani mareh otecha et tavnit hamishkan ve'tavnit kol kela v'chen ta'asu. What does that mean? You're going to make a migdash and he's going to dwell inside of them. So he says, just like I'm going to show you, the tavnit hamishkan, tavnit kol kela v'chen ta'asu. What does it mean when it says v'shachanti b'tocham? Says Or HaChaim HaKadosh. We're going to make it bigger over here. Says Or HaChaim HaKadosh, v'shachanti betocham v'lo mar betocho. It doesn't say betocho. He says, why exactly? It says, limed shamakom asher yekdishu shechino yeh betoch bnei Yisrael. It's inside of bnei Yisrael. V'uot betocham. And it's going to be inside of them. Okay? V'chashku ahev. Yod ke betocham. Hashem wants to be within us. And that's why he wants us to come and to become holy in order that the Shekhinah will come inside of us. So he comes and he says, Vayu kulim asuyim degalim degalim. Do you know that he wants us to be like the Malachim? Right? So what happens is, that's what it says, Dagul Mirabava. Because once Bnei Yisrael saw that, he said, we also want to be the legions of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We want to be the ones which are going in the path of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? Now the Or HaChaim HaKadosh comes and he says like this, V'natatim meshkani betochechem. Parasha Bechukotai. Where's Bechukotai? Is it in Devarim? If you say Devarim, he'll pick up his ears. Yeah? So he comes and he says like this. He says, Mishkani. Yeah? 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 He comes and he says like this. V'natatim mishkani betochechem. Pirush al derech omro oel shikem ba'adam. Ikar mishkano yitbarach utoch neshamot kodsho. So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh in Parasha Bechukotai. Where's Bechukotai? Right? No. Right? Vayikra. Yeah? Vayikra. Right? In Vayikra it says Ikar mishkano yitbarach. The main place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes his mishkan is within the neshamot of Bnei Israel. Okay? And therefore he comes and he says, V'lo tigal nafshi. Don't make me that I'm going to become disgusted where I want to put my Shekhinah. So says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, yeah, ותיגל הרוחניות לגשמיות, לזה אמר לו תיגל נפשי אתכם. So he comes and he says, והתהלכתי בתוככם. כלומר שמלבד שלא יגל, גם לא יהיה לו נחת רוח והשראת שכינה בתוך תוכם, והיא בחינת הנשמה שהיא תוך תוכם. Therefore it's going to be inside of the neshama. What does it mean the neshama? It says here, הנשמה שוכנת בתוך, right, האדם. We have to understand that the neshama, right, goes inside of the human being. Yeah, and now he comes and he says, לא יתהלכו במנוחת ונחת לשם תענוג. Don't just do things because of nachat and ta'anug, but rather it's going to be a little bit different. So now he comes and he says like this, Yesodot HaDvarim are also explained also in the Al-Shich HaKadosh. So it's not only the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, it's also the Al-Shich HaKadosh. The Al-Shich comes and he says, Od yitachen derech shnei biyud sheni, biyud HaKtuvim, vehi, right, it says like this, V'shachanti betocham velo betocho, vehu, כי נשמתי לומדים עיקר, כי עיקר השראת השכינה באדם הוא ולא בבית. Meaning, if I'm going to say inside of a place, what do I say? בתוכו. It doesn't say בתוכו. It says בתוכם. Why does it say בתוכם? So he says בתוכם because it's not בבית. The עיקר השכינה is not in the house. It's not, זה בתוך הנשמה של כל אחד ואחד. So he comes and he says, והוא מאמרו בתוכם, אך לא המשיכו הכתובים על עניין זה, I'm going to come and I'm going to explain it even more. Well, כי עדיין צריך לשים לב, כי הלא במשכן עצמו הייתה שכינה. כומרו ונועדי לך שם. There was שכינה in the משכן. And it says, וכבוד השם מלא את המשכן, it was full. ולא יכול משה לבוא. משה רבנו couldn't come any single time. Right? Why? Because there was a שכינה. So he comes and he says, as follows, אומנם, על דרך מאמרם ז"ל, during the time of הלל הזקן, there was a bat call that says, יש ביניכם מי שראוי שתשרה עליו שכינה כמשה רבנו. He says, you know that one of you guys could have the שכינה like Moshe Rabbeinu, but the door is not fitting. So he comes and he says, מה הקשר עכשיו משה רבנו? Just say that one of you guys should have had the שכינה and that's it. But he comes and he says, as follows, he says, right, really באמת, בדור אנוש לשני וכן לסדר על השביעי, ובא אברהם והורידה לשישי, יצחק לחמישי, יעקב לרביעי. Basically what happened is that the Shekinah went very high up. And every single one of the generations, they brought down the Shekhinah. So Avraham Avinu came and he brought it down to the 6th level. Right? Yitzchak to the 5th, Yaakov to the 4th, Levi to the 3rd, Gad to the 2nd, Amram to the 1st. Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down to the land. And therefore, it was fitting for Hillel, Ashor Shekhinah Ba'aretz V'Shalatoh, which was going to be Shitish Ki Moshe Rabbeinu, which means that through him, you would have it mamash on the land. And it wasn't a level of a door. But, Ela en ador ra'oi lekach. Why? Because of their avonot, because of their sins, they weren't able to do this. And that's why it says in the Pasuk, Hechal Hashem, Hema. What does it mean, Hechal Hashem?
The sin of the fire.
No, we just saw about Hechal Hashem. Where do we speak about Hechal Hashem?
איפה מדברים על זה?
Yes. We just did it in Daf Yomi.
אני לא הייתי יושב.
Hechal Hashem. We just learned it because we just said, if a person comes and he says that the Bet HaMikdash, very good, 3 times. So he says that how do we know the Bet HaMikdash was going to be destroyed or not? So when it said Hechal Hashem, meaning there was going to be 3 of them. And then we spoke about the 490 years because there was 420 years the second Bet HaMikdash. And then there was going to be the 70 years in between the first Bet HaMikdash and the second Bet HaMikdash. So 70 and 420 is 490. And therefore we already knew that it was 7 times the 70. Because there was 7 times the Shivim. Right? Every 7 is Shemitah. So 70 times 70. 70 times 7 is? Right? 7 times 70. Oh, you're wrong. 490. Yeah, 490. It was a nice try, but yeah, fine. Yeah,
for sure wasn't in Masech.
No, it wasn't. It was in Daf Yomi. The doctor would have remembered. It was in Daf Yomi. We just did it though, but he remembered. Al ya'aleh chacham ki echal Hashem hu ve'ech yanicheu yitbarach. Halo hechal Hashem hema. What does that mean? When they are going to be fitting for Ashrat HaShekhinah and the Neshamot, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring it down. And that's what it says, Mishaken et Shemo Yitbarach b'makom hahu, on that person, which is on the human being. Ki en chefetz Hashem lishkon ba'aretz. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want to dwell in the land. He wants to do it. Where's his main place? A building. It's very, very nice. But it's not the building. It's in the neshama of every single Jew. That's the ikar. And then what happens is when they pick themselves up, they become the merkava to the Shekhinah. So now he comes and he says, there's a pasuk in Tehillim. So he says, Veitosh Mishkan Shiloh. How are you going to come and natash Mishkan Kocho? He says, Halo lo asa hu yibarach ikar rak me'anashim. Ki oel shikem ba'adam. Because he wanted the ikar in the human beings. So he says, Mi ze yuchal la'achin atzmo liyom mishkano yibarach. So who's the one that's going to prepare himself? He says, V'chen ta'asu. What does that mean? Piv yitbarach dover bam. Don't come and say, right, al ha'chefetz ha'av v'shachanti b'tocham. He says, Hineni ba ki medaber lenochach. I'm speaking to you. V'chen ta'asu. As if that I'm coming and I'm actually going to speak to you guys, and I'm telling you that once you become purifying yourself, v'chen ta'asu, I will come and I will place my Shekhinah onto you, which means that's the ikar of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants on every single human being. And now we understand what the Al-Shikh says. We're on page Gimel, right? If you turn to page Gimel, it says over there, v'zeh kavanato yibarach la'ashosh shechinato banu, v'zeh tachlit habriyah. Meaning the purpose of all creation, the purpose of all creation, right, is what? Is that Hashem should have a Shekhinah in us. Meaning some people come and they say, you know what? I can do whatever I want, but I support. Yeah, they have a nice building. I come and I support. The purpose of the Bria was not to have Hashem in the building. The purpose of the Bria was to have Hashem inside of every single one of us. Inside the Neshama of every single Jew. That's the purpose. So he says, as Mamam Rabotenu Zal, that's just like Chazal say in Tanchuma, it is Midrash. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world from the beginning already, he was desiring to come and to live within the Tachtonim. He wanted to live down here with us. That's what he wanted to do. And therefore he comes and he says, Leorot, he doesn't want a building. As it says, so if we follow the paths of Hashem, we're going to come, we're going to purify ourselves until we're going to do that. Now it says, I'm going to place my Mishkan within you. And I'm not going to become disgusted with you, because that's where you're going to have the Shekhinah. So now that we understood that, now we're going to understand that the Shekhinah is the Gilui Kvodo Babriya, which means when he's going to reveal his presence, right, in the creation. And this is the kesher of the Kvod Hashem Yitbarach with the Tachtonim. So it says in Parashat Bechukotav, "V'natati mishkani b'tochechem, v'talachti b'tochechem." Says the Ramban. What do they say? They say as follows. They say, Al derech haemet, right? The Ramban, Nachmanides. He comes and he says, V'natati shalom ba'aretz, right? V'italachti b'tochem, remez lamidah shekaru rabotenu shechina. Because when it says, V'natati mishkani b'tochechem, shechina shora b'Yisrael. The shechina is going to be in Israel. And that's what it says in the Gemara, Masechet Menachot. Taf pevav umbet, shechina shora b'Yisrael. Right? That's we already know. The shechina is going to be in Israel. So now says the Nod of Yehuda, he's going to speak about the entire concept of the Leshem Yichud. And listen to this, right? Listen carefully. It says, "Ma sheshal sheomrim kol matfilah v'ray v'asiyat shum mitzvah Leshem Yichud, v'chen ma shemevuar, or that which is written in Sifrei Musar, that we have to come and scream over the Galut HaShechina." He says, "Ma'u HaShechina ve'ech she'ach Galut." I don't understand. He says, "What is the Shechina? And how do you say that the Shekhinah is in Galut?" What does it mean the Shekhinah is in Galut? That we have to come and start crying or mourning over the Shekhinah. So he says as follows. He says, "Mitchila ani omer," we're in the middle of page Arba Aleph. So he says, "Mitchila ani omer," that which you asked the Pirush of Nisach L'Shem Yichud, "Mala lanu galot Pirush al dvarim shelo matzinu b'divrei shnei haTalmudim Bavli v'Yerushalmi, ve'lo b'sifri v'sifra v'tosefta ve'lo b'divrei haposkim." The Nod of Yehuda was very, very well known that he was very against L'Shem Yichutz. Right? Some people, they like doing L'Shem Yichutz all the time. Yeah? It wasn't our minhag. Yeah? It wasn't our minhag. Yeah, but says the Nod of Yehuda, he says, I don't understand. He says, where are we going to come? Right? But listen, he says, why in the world are we going to come and start saying things which are not mentioned, not in the Talmud Bavli, not in the Talmud Yerushalmi, not in the Sifra, not in the Sifri, not in the Tosefta, and not in any of the Poskim. Umi tilahem dvarim kaelu. Who permitted them such things? Do you know that it was much better when they didn't know these nuschaot? Meaning, they didn't even know these nuschaot. So I already spoke about it in Nod Yehuda, in the other one, in the other sefer of the Nod Yehuda. Okay? But this is Madura Tinyana. This is obviously the first one. The Omnam, however, though, that which he comes and he says, 1 minute. That which he comes and he says, he says that is brought down in the Chazal and the Talmud. Right? Bechelek Aleph, Perek Kafeh. Sheken Yadua. So he's going to explain what is exactly the concept of when we come and we speak about the Shekhinah and the Galuta Shekhinah. He says, Yadua, ki inyan zot hamilah, hi hatmadat haomed b'makom echad. Right? When we're talking about this, it means that we're talking about something in the same place. Vehu shachen be'elonei mamreh. For example, when it says shachen be'elonei mamreh, it means that they're going to be in the same place. V'inyan hashchina b'makom ha'u, right? That's madat ha'omed b'makom echad means. When you say shchina, it means that it's staying in the same place. Ulfi zot ha'ashala. Yeah? He comes and he says, right? Rushala borei italeh. Klomar להתמדת שכינה או השגחתו באיזה מקום שהתמידה בו שכינה. Where is it going to be? או לכל דבר שהתמידה בו השגחה, or it's going to be for a long time. ונאמר וישכון כבוד השם. וכל מה שבא מזאת הפעולה מיוחס לבורא, everything is to השם. הוא בעניין התמדתו, right? שכינתו, כלומר, אורו הנברא במקום. We're talking about the light which is created in the place, or התמדת השגחה בדבר אחד, or that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is putting his divine providence in one place, in one thing. Kol makom kifin yano, each place accordingly. These are the words of Rabbeinu Agadol. Umikam ve'elach divrei talmid katan kamoni. Then I'm going to explain it. V'ani lokach mitoch divrei Rabbeinu Agadol shenatan bepirushim shchina. Or nivra or hashkacha. So he comes and he says like this. V'ani omer shnehem davar echad. This is the exact same thing. Hashkachat haborei barach ena davar she'em ba mamash. Aval hashkacha atzma mimela ne'etzal mimena or agadol. He comes and he says like this. When we're talking about the Hashkachat Borei Barach, it's not something which doesn't have, it's not tangible. But rather the Hashkacha itself, there's an Ora Gadol. The Hashkacha is that which Chazal come and they call it the Shekhinah. And therefore he says, Lefi ratzon haboreh v'kasher hu bizman she'isa lo sim retzono, yikar hashkachato b'Yisrael. When we do the will of God, the Shekhinah is with us. So if they're doing it with us, so Hashem's with us. And we're going to have all the abundance. We're going to have everything. Ella, but rather because the good things, it's going to come to other places as well. And it's in Parashat Bechukotai. I'm going to turn away from everything that I need to do in order to give you guys a reward. Rashi says, he comes and he says, Eretz, asher lokech doresh ota. He says, כביכול אינו דורש אלא אותה, ועל ידי אותה דרישה שדורש אותה, דורש כל ארצות. Meaning, when he's going to come and we're going to look into Eretz Yisrael, then afterwards it's going to come to all the other lands. Where do we learn that? Tanit. Baruch. So he says, ששם הוא מקום התמדת ההשגחה, because that's where the place of the השגחה is. וזהו הפירוש שהשכינה שורה בישראל. That's what it means that it's going to be in Israel. שההשגחה שקורא השכינה הוא רק בישראל, וכל זה כשהיא... But that's only when we're doing רצונו של מקום. But when we're going to come and we're going to start sinning, and then we're not going to have the השגחה, and we're going to be in the galut, אז נהפוך הוא שכל השפע הטוב יורה לאומות העולם. Everything goes to אומות העולם, to the גויים, ומן התמצית אנו מקבלים מאותה אומה, right? כדי חיותנו וצמצום. And then we get from the תמצית. Meaning that when we come into the galut, what happens is ונהפוך הוא. Instead of them getting from us the leftovers, we're getting from them the leftovers. So now the Ramchal comes and he's going to explain as follows. Yes. Inyan ta'avato shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'ashat shchinato b'tachtonim. When we're talking about the ta'ava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be mashe shchina, right, in the tachtonim. And he says, as chuyot mashkinim yakavot tachtonim. When we come and we do mitzvot, that's when we actually have a Kadosh Baruch Hu within us. V'shachanti b'tocham. Yoto shochem b'tachtonim. Uchvod Hashem alayich zarach. And then Hashem is with us. And that's the kesher of Kvodo Yitbarach im Tachtonim, which is called the Shat HaShechina. Shachanti b'tocham. When we come and we bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, into the Shechina, we put it to become a partner, right, with us. Okay? Fine. So now it comes out. Yeah, it comes and he says, right, when you're doing, right, the mitzvah and learning Torah, you become a Merkava l'Shechina. So this is actually in Parashat Acharemot. In Parashat Acharemot, we say, Mishpatai ta'asu v'chutai tishminu lachem mehem, ani Hashem Elokechem. What does that mean? It says Or HaChaim HaKadosh over there, when you come and you do a mitzvah, the person himself becomes a Merkava to the Shechina. And then it says, Acharei Hashem Elokechem telechu v'otot tilo v'mitzvot tishmonu v'kolot tishmonu v'otot titbaku. You have to cling to Hashem. Says Or HaChaim HaKadosh, this is in Parashat Re'eh. So he says, how do you cling to Hashem? Right? Velomed Torah. When you start learning Torah, you become clinging to Hashem. Hashem attaches himself to you, and then you become the Merkava to the Shechina. Just like it speaks about the Bnei Yisachar, right? That they were learning the Torah, Sheba'olam hazeh they become the Merkava to the Shechina. And that's what we say in Shir HaShirim. In Shir HaShirim we say, Agida li she'ava nashi echad tirecha v'shamay kedodi ala v'lecha v'recha. Says the Rishon LeZion. Who's the Rishon LeZion?
הראשון או
הרב אמר. הרב אמר.
הראשון של היום?
Rishon LeZion is the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He wrote a sefer called Rishon LeZion on Tanakh. On Nach. Nach.
No.
Or HaChaim HaKadosh.
Or HaChaim HaKadosh.
So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh came and he wrote the sefer called Rishon LeZion and Nach. Okay, on the Torah he wrote the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, and on Nach it was the Rishon LeZion. So he comes and he says, "Vehu ki Hashem Baruch Hu shochem betoch hatzadikim." As HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he comes and he dwells amongst the tzadikim. And that's what it means when we say the pasuk Kol shiken ba'adam. That we come and we say Shalama yeh keotiyah, Ishton istofefut, that he's coming and he's dwelling amongst us. And that's what it says. Bechol hamakom asher askir et shemi avo lecha v'nachticha. Any place where you're going to mention my name, I'm going to come and bless you. Why? Because I'm going to be there with you. So as he says, why? Because, right, we're always going to have tzaddikim. Since we're going to have tzaddikim, we don't have to worry. In Parashat Vayera, says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. What? No, you wouldn't have the right? Within the tzaddik, you already have it. Venireh, right? He comes and he says, Kavanat HaKatuv le'odia, because it says over there, Vayera Hashem, right? Vayera Hashem that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to Hashem. Hashem appeared to Avraham Avinu in Elmaleh Mamre, and he was at the entrance of the tent. So it says over here because it was very, very hot. So it says, V'naseh merkava l'shechina. Havot were merkava l'shechina. He says that Avraham Avinu became a merkava l'shechina. Right? So he comes and he says, the neshama, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes, and he puts the shechina, hakoach lenatzeach, right? Et hachefetz ve'acheshek. So that's by coming and doing that, we're going to come and we're going to put, right, the cheshek, to come into the desire to go against our desires. Meaning when we come and we learn Torah, that gives us the strength to go against our desires. We say in Parashat Acharemot, Abel b'nei Yisrael u'mertalehem ani yasholchem, k'ma'aseres v'sham shavtem lo yitzalku k'ma'aseres Kenan, asher ani mevitchem shama. So says Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Ech yachol enosh tivi limsho b'tavoto. Explain to me, how do you control your desires?
Torah.
How do you destroy? How do you control? Yeah, so he says, that's what it says. Like the actions of Mitzrayim that you guys were dwelling there, right? Don't do it. How are you not going to do it? When he comes and he says, what does that mean? Right? That's the pshat when he comes and he says, when I'm going to come and become Hashem your God, that I'm going to put my Shekhinah onto you, that's it. You're going to overcome your desires. You don't have to do anything else.
And how
It takes 20 years.
ואיך הוא יציל את השכינה
It takes
עליך?
20 years.
Masechet Avot says the Pirkei Avot. What does it mean when it says the Shachanti betocham velo betocho? Says Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa, Ish Kachania Omer, Asara sheyoshvim v'oskim b'Torah shechina shruya b'nehem. When you have two people that are learning Torah, you have the Shekhinah between them. It says in the pasuk Elohim nitzav ba'atat el. Afterwards, it continues going that obviously even without the 10, even one person, you also have it, but it's not the same power, obviously. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he's going to bless you and everything, but it's not the same Shekhinah when you're going to have 10 people. Or HaChaim HaKadosh on Parashat Truman, this week's Parasha says, 10 people. The beginning is 10 people. Then it continues going down. Even 5, then afterwards 3, after 3 even 2, and afterwards 2 even 1. The last one, that was what the Kiva mentioned. But the last one.
What about Zoom?
Okay, there's a whole question about that. Fine. Derech Remes, right? When the Or HaChaim HaKadosh comes and he says in Parashat Truma, we're talking about Derech Remes, he comes and he says, Shachanti b'tocham, ki bechinot ha'kedusha, v'adregotea lo begeder ha'mispar. We're not talking about now numbers game. Ki gavoa me'al gavoa gavoim, because Hashem is above everything. But rather, הדרגות הקדושות היא מ-1 עד 60 ריבו. Really, it's 1 to 600,000. וזה בבחינת המספר ובבחינת האיכות, because it's numbers and also in quality. Each one until there's no numbers, basically. So he comes and he says, ושחנתי בתוכם ככל השירים על אותך, ככל, right? אשר, it's putting it right beside ושחנתי. Why? כשיעור אותה המרכבה אשר היה מראה ולשכון בתוכם, וכפי זה תהיה נקשרת תיבת ככל לשחנתי. What does that mean? He comes and he says like this. He says, ומכאן אתה למד שהדרגות הקדושה רבים מאוד. You should know that there's so many levels of kedusha. We think, there's only little levels. You know how many levels of kedusha there is? הדרגה הקדושה הגבוהה ביותר היא, יתקבץ יחד בני ישראל מנסה 60 ריבו. I mean, when you're going to have 600,000 Jews come together in one place, that's the highest level of kedusha, right, that you could have. But that's the highest level. That's, all the way up there. Yeah? בבחינת האיכות, גם כן. Right? So he comes and he says, גם כן יש הדרגות, בלי גבול, להשראת השכינה על האדם. Yeah?
Maybe 10,000.
הכל לפי קדושת נשמתו של אדם. Everything which is according to the kedusha of the neshama of a human being. Okay? So now he comes and he says like this. He says, right? שאין השכינה שורה על פחות מ-60 ריבו. That's a Gemara that the Gemara one is talking about over there, the Bereshit Rabbah also, that you always need the 600,000 in order to have the Shekhinah, which is going to be Shuria on Am Yisrael. When afterwards Hashem comes and he says, Anochi Ered Imecha, I'm going to go down with you and I'm going to go up with you and Yosef will come and put your eyes on you. Right? What does that mean? The Shekhinah went down with him. What does it mean the Shekhinah went down with him? Le'olam yered Shekhinah l'Mitzrayim. Ki Shekhinah imahem b'Mitzrayim. The Shekhinah was with them in Mitzrayim. So you see from here, the Shekhinah did go down. So he comes and he says, Hadargot or Shekhinah Rabim Hema. There's a lot of different levels of the Shekhinah. He says, there's different levels. So because of that, you're going to see when we're talking about the Asharat HaShekhinah and Sinai, and lower down, whether it's going to be in the Beit or the Bet HaMikdash, right, and lower down, whether it's going to be in the Bet HaKnesset or the Bet HaMidrash, right, or even in the Minyan. Meaning, at the end of the day, there's always the Shekhinah. When you have Minyan, you also have Shekhinah, right? But it's not the same Shekhinah that it is in a Minyan, that it's going to be in a Minyan in the Beit, or you're going to have it in the Bet HaKnesset. Then, when you have it in the Bet HaKnesset, the Bet HaMidrash, it's not going to be the same thing like it was in the Bet HaMikdash, right? In the Bet HaMikdash. So when you have the Bet HaMikdash, it's going to be a different level. And that is not going to be the same as when you have all of Klal Yisrael together, the 600,000, when they were at the time of Matan Torah. So you see from here that each one was a different, right, was a different level. Okay? Fine. So now he comes and he says like this, Vayomen Hashem misinai ba v'zarach misilamo, Ofia me'ad paran, right? Ve'atam mivo kodesh mimino esh dat lamo. What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he says, Lama lo zachu ha'avot, u'bifrat Yaakov, שהייתה מיתתו שלמה, לתת להם Hashem תורתו. Why is it that the Avot HaKadoshim didn't get the Torah? Avraham Avinu. Why didn't he get the Torah? Yeah, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Yeah? Says, why? לפי שאין שכינה שורה על פחות מ-60 ריבו. You needed 600,000. You didn't have that by Avraham Avinu yet. Didn't have that by Yitzchak. You didn't have Yaakov. So therefore he comes and he says, that's why it says, Lashon Hofia, Hofa'ah. Hofa'ah means, al chelek mu'at me'akdusha. Hofia Ruach HaKodesh b'mimrai b'midrashen, which means you needed the amount of people that you had during the time of Moshe Rabbeinu to get the Torah. It wasn't because if not technically, it could have been given to Avraham Avinu, could have been given to Yitzchak and to Yaakov. But he comes and he says, you needed, right, the Shishim Ribo, you needed the Shekhinah legamre to come and to bring it down. Okay, then the last one we're going to do, Hinni omer lefnecha Hashem al atzur, lecholei v'gedi v'atzur v'yitzur mimenu mayim v'shtam. You know, Hinni omer, yesh makom shetigdal bo v'sham al atzur. He says, כפי מלאת הכנה בתמידות, באין השתנו מקום שלי בו מקום כמקום המקודש, או כפי השולים בתוכו. What does that mean? Sometimes מעלת המקום is מצד האנשים, right? And because of that, תגדל השראת השכינה באותו מקום. Meaning, sometimes in a certain place, there's more Shekhinah. Why? Because according to the people that are there. And when it's according to the people that are there, they're going to cause that there's going to be more Shekhinah. So that means according to the people that are there, it's going to come and it's going to change the Shekhinah that is going to be in there. And then we'll just finish off with the Gaon. That the Gaon says, we're on page 9. That the Gaon comes and he says, right, that we're talking about Shliyat HaShekhinah betoch lev ben Yisrael, right? And that's what he says, צריכים מקום מיוחד להתכנס כל ובוא ביחד, ולכן בחר מקום מאוחר בארץ, שם הוא מוכן שתשרה השכינה בישראל. He says, when we're talking about the entire concept, that the Yikar is supposed to be in our hearts. And therefore, we always have to come and we have to prepare our hearts. And that's the explanation. That was the shiur. The title of the shiur was Bilvavi, in my heart. Mishkan Evne, I'm going to build the Mishkan. What does that mean? We have to actually make it that it's fitting, that in our hearts, we're going to have the Shekhinah. The Nefesh Chaim says the exact same yisod when he's talking about B'dugma Yonah, Klal HaInyanim She'Rait Shahu B'Briya, Shema Gam Ken HaMishkan, there was also the Mishkan, as it already brought down, and the Nefesh Chaim comes and he says, that's why Me'am HaKodesh, he says, all the Sidrei Bereshit and Sidrei Merkava and everything, B'Yikar of the Inyan, the Yikar of the Kedusha and the Mikdash, is the Shekhinah of the Kadosh Baruch Hu is putting. And then he's going to have the Kedusha. So he comes and he says, that's how he's going to come and he's going to say, Chen Ta'asu means you have to make yourselves for generations fitting to have the Mishkan within you. That's what we have to actually work upon ourselves. And that's what the Nefesh Chaim comes and he says, that's what every single one of us has to prepare for ourselves.
What is the Mishkan